Alrighty, so I was watching a Greg Doucette video recently on apparently one of his clients switch coaches, whatever, blah blah. But there's a lot of good insights on how to be a coach and what is good coaching and stuff, or sort of his philosophy of coaching, which I actually share very much. And so it just actually gave me a idea to do this video, which I'm going to be putting on IGTV. But basically, had to do with how often should you change a client's program. And so everyone who I coach, if you watch this, you'll see that this is exactly how I coach. Um, so basically, if the general concept is if it's not broke, don't fix it. And there's a certain progression that goes along depending on the client's goals through their program. Like, say for me, I typically update everyone's program monthly. Sometimes it's every 3 weeks, but usually it's monthly. It gives them time to progress over the course of that plan. And when they have monthly check-ins, say they come in, they have a check-in, my update is going to be based on their check-in, so on their actual workout performance. Because someone can tell me, oh yeah, I've been hitting this many reps and this much weight and blah blah blah. But if they come to me, let me get this notification. If they come to me and they don't come anywhere near that workout performance that they've been telling me, why should I believe it? I mean, maybe they do. I don't know, but I need objective measures. I need, basically to see what their actual workouts are like. So it could be that they are, but maybe they're resting way longer than what I really want them resting. Maybe they're taking not enough time in their warm-ups. Maybe they're not doing their prehab type of work, to keep their shoulder joints healthy or whatever. And it's actually something that I've seen with quite a few people, especially when I was first starting out as well. The earlier gym that I first was at, because of course a lot of people had been set in their ways of training a certain way, and I would tell them, like, well, you need to probably warm up a little bit better, and you need to do some of this prehab work and your core stability work before you get to your heavy lifts, because a lot of them would plateau, or they would always end up going up and up to a certain weight, and then they would get injured, and then they'd recover, they go up and up and up, and right around the same weight they get injured again. So I'm interested in longevity. For everyone who signs up with me, I want them to be doing this a long time, because I want to be doing this a long time. I want to be lifting. I tell people I want to lift until I'm 80, and that's not an exaggeration. Like, for as long as I'm alive, I want to be lifting, because this is what I love. And a lot of the people that sign up with me, it is a long-term goal for them too. So I want to keep them healthy so they can continue doing it. So anyways, back to like I was saying, if someone comes to me and they have their check-in, I understand that different gyms, the weights feel a little different. I've been to a lot of gyms around the valley, and the weights do feel different at them depending on what brand they're made by and stuff like that, versus some that are like literally just like the plates that are attached to the dumbbell. Those sometimes are a little heavier because they don't count the weight of the actual metal bar that's connecting the dumbbell, whereas a preloaded dumbbell, it's usually created to weigh that exact amount. So those are just little differences and stuff. So when they go back to their normal gym, they might be lifting heavier or lighter, quote unquote, right? And that's okay, as long as they're in the target rep range and all that. But if someone, say, comes and they bomb out on half of their workout, like they don't get anywhere near the weight and the repetitions that they're supposed to be, there's no reason for me to add more volume or to tell them to increase reps on their next month of their plan. Why? They still haven't reached that level of performance. They need to get to that first before we can then progress. And the similar concept when someone's making technique changes. So if someone's making technique changes, they might have to reduce the weight in the short run, master that new technique, and then start progressing in repetitions and sets and weight and stuff like that. Because anytime that you're making a change, you want to master that change first and then start progressing. And you don't want to just, I'm going to do a technique change and I'm going to try to hit the same weight automatically without even doing it on lighter sets. So start off in your warm-up sets already implementing that new technique, and you go heavy enough to where you're in your target rep range with that same technique. You're going to go as heavy as you can with that same technique. Don't all of a sudden start changing it because this is in there for a certain reason. Okay, and it doesn't matter whether it's someone who's training for hypertrophy or strength. Anytime there's a technique change, you want to keep that technique change and then progress with that technique change. Now, by the same token, like let's say someone's getting ready for an event, like say a powerlifting meet, you would not, as a coach, you would not want to change someone's technique really close to the meet. You want to have them practice how they play, right? So they're getting ready to peak for an event. They want to keep everything the same and just coast into their meet. Then during their off season is when they start implementing technique changes and they start changing some things around, because sometimes it might take you, sometimes you change it, make a technique change and you lift more weight right away. Sometimes it's going to take you a month or two of lifting a little bit lighter before your strength comes back up again and it starts climbing again and surpasses your old strength levels. So it just depends on the person and their coordination and stuff like that. This sun is killing me. Okay, here we go. So for folks, sometimes when they're in my online coaching program, they might say, well, oh, you haven't changed my workouts, or you haven't increased the weight enough or increased the sets. Sometimes it's because I want them mastering the changes that we made first and then progressing. Now, someone else, I see they come in for a check-in and they've clearly added strength. They're like already like 10 pounds up on most of their lifts and added 15 pounds on their main compound lift. They're clearly ready for that next level of progression, whether it means adding more weight or adding more volume. And then, of course, towards the tail end of a program, if you're doing hypertrophy, that's when I like to incorporate other intensity techniques, or intensifying techniques, I should say, where it's things like drop sets and, training to failure a little bit more. But, training to failure, I don't think you should do it all the time. I do think it's a part of maximizing your gains, but it's not something you should do every single set for sure. And in the early parts of a program, I don't think you should even do it at all, other than maybe the very, very last set of an isolation lift. But that's my philosophy. But so anyways, main moral of the story of this particular thing is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you're making gains, keep on going. When you stall, then you gotta increase, whether, again, intensity, volume, decreased rest periods. There's different acute variables that we as trainers and coaches change so that the client can keep progressing. And it depends on their goal, and it depends how long they've been training, and what other types of variables have already changed in their program. Alrighty, and that, I believe, is it for this particular video.